Yeah, guys, attendance is open. You can mark your attendance. Okay, Tejas, one issue that people in the other batch told me is that Microsoft Teams does not have recording facilities. So,
Okay, sir, I did not know that.
okay, so if it doesn't have, then probably we can't use it. This is one of the issues. Do you
Okay.
get recorded lectures for your electronics course?
Yes, sir, we do get those. I guess I don't
Okay.
know actually how they did the last one, or if he did that.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, just tell me like if there is some way of getting it recorded, then we can certainly use it. But if there is no way to record it, it is a problem. That is the issue.
Okay, sir, I'll do some research on it and I'll get back to you.
Thank you, thank you. And Shreya, are you there? Shreya?
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Shreya, I have asked students in the previous batch as well to respond to your form because it only has 170 responses, right? We have a
Yes,
batch of around 240. So there are still about
yes.
60-65 people who have not responded to your form. So I have asked the students to respond to it. Let's wait for today as well. And I hope more people. You can probably send them a reminder as well that those who have not filled up, please fill it, right? And let's get the data by tonight. Okay.
Okay, yes, sir. Surely I'll give them a reminder.
Okay. Okay. Some link has been posted here. Uh, yeah. So it is there, right? So then, what is the issue? Why did they say that? Okay, that may be a licensed thing, is it? I mean, is it only available for licensed? Uh, okay, please check it out. If just hold a meeting, right? You guys, some 5-6 people can hold a meeting on Microsoft Teams, and just check if you can record it, right? I mean, if you can, then we can simply go ahead with it. Um, we'll use it probably after midsem. In any case, tomorrow we won't. I mean, it's last class before midsem, so we won't. Uh, disturb the schedule. But after midsem, we can certainly use Teams if there is the recording facility is there. Okay. And okay, how many people have come already? Okay, there's still time.
Well, there were different classes.
Well, got it, got it, got it. By the way, I mean just a suggestion that if do you guys have some kind of some kind of feedback sessions or meetings with your heads or dean of academic affairs or the director. If you have such feedback sessions, I mean, I'm not sure whether you guys have it or not, but try to try to push towards Google Meet. Ask them that it would be better if we can purchase licenses for Google Meet. Because see, I'm here temporarily. You are here at least for 4 years. So you guys have a lot of weight. So whenever you talk to the administration, just give a feedback that WebEx, even in the morning today, morning session, WebEx had some issues. Everything was working. I checked my internet speed today was 100 Mbps exact. Okay, and but it was but WebEx was not working. I restarted my browser and it started working. So this is something that even I cannot understand. And even if we go for live lectures, this will always be an issue because you know uh, I can understand that sometimes it could be an internet issue, which is a common thing. It can happen with anyone. But sometimes even when my internet is working fine, WebEx gives me a hard time. So yeah, that is. I mean, it's okay, Tejas. I'm just like suggesting that if they ask me, I will also say the same thing that it is better to switch to Google Meet because we still don't know for how many semesters this online virtual semester is going to go on, right? I'm pretty sure at least the next semester they are planning to have it virtual as well. So next semester as well, the classes will be like this only. So if we can, if we can somehow get rid of this WebEx, it will be a huge relief. So let's see. Let's see. Uh, so how many people have joined? Guys, please put your attendance. Let's make it kind of a habit that you join when you join the lecture. Keep that email open and just click on submit and then. Uh, Angmo, I'm not sure. I because I have not yet heard anything. Because if they have to open up the campus, you guys will be intimidated, right? Intimidated because you will be intimated. You'll have to come right to the campus. So, uh, and that is the issue. It was showing
Other
correct.
colleges opening and
Yeah, yeah. See, I mean, I too would prefer teaching you in a classroom environment. Uh, but right, I mean, I have to just abide by what is. Yeah, Aditya, I know. I mean, see, yesterday what happened was when during your lectures, right? I had to go and come back again. You know what was I getting? I was getting an error on WebEx that I am not authorized to attend the same meeting, right? I mean, I just opened the same link from my history, and it was saying that I am not authorized to attend the meeting. I don't know why, because I have even made it open for guests, so I could have even at least joined as a guest. But uh, so basically, this is something yeah, that is what I was saying, that Tejas is going to find out what is the process for recording lectures on Teams. Um, if that is free for us, right? I mean, without any, because I actually do have an account on OneDrive. So I have a OneDrive subscription, my personal account. Okay, that is also by my Microsoft. So I do have a Microsoft subscription that is for my personal use. I'm ready to use it if that same account can give me at least some, it can give me access to Teams as well, and because I have 1 TB of space on OneDrive. So if even if I can use my personal account and the recordings go to my OneDrive account, I'll simply use it. It is much better. But I'll have to check, right, if it requires some additional licenses. Um that is what, Prerak. That is the thing that people said, that it is not free. It's So what happens uh, with your electronics class? I mean, do you guys get the lectures? Um, I mean, are they recorded, and are you given the recorded lectures in electronics?
So I don't know automatically recorded and then it is there on Teams only. You can access it through Teams.
Mohit, your mic is probably not working well. Uh, so can you talk to your electronics faculty member and ask what is the process to do? Are they using some? Do they have some licenses? If they have a license, then we can't do anything. But that is what, na. So he's from that other triple IT. So then that is why that is what they have a license for Microsoft Teams. So he's just using that, right? Unfortunately, we don't have it. So so that is the issue. I cannot switch to Teams like this because recording is an important feature. Anyhow, but anyhow, like someone can at least have a look at it. Let me tell you that I do have a OneDrive account. I'm not sure what is it called. So I have that account which gives me 1 TB of space and all the Office suite. Okay, so I have bought that. I personally, okay, I have a personal Office subscription. Um, if that can somehow be, enable me to use the recording feature, because the problem really is for a free account, the amount of space you get on OneDrive is I think only 5 GB. So that is why it might not be possible for them to save that, on your drive. So this could be a reason. I'm just thinking out loud. So I'm telling you that I do have a Office subscription with me, so that gives me 1 TB of space on OneDrive. If that Office subscription can also allow me to record my meetings, then right, I'll be happy to switch over. I'll use my personal account to create the classes, and I will use that. But yeah, we can't. Prerak, this is what we were discussing a little while back, that I can't force the college to do anything. Um, you guys can probably. I'm not sure. Uh, Actually, screen recording is fine, but the issue is something like this. Screen recording will mean that you all will see whatever I see or someone else will see. Right? Now, sometimes it happens that my net connection is not good, but others have a better internet connection. Okay, so when it is done in the cloud, as long as the speaker has a good internet connection, everything will be recorded. Okay, but here it is dependent on my internet connection, that how much does it get recorded. So that is why it is not a good idea for us to do screen recording. That is kind of a last retort if we are using a solution that doesn't allow recording at all. But yeah, and I think Google Meet is a good option, and that is what I was saying, that we'll have to buy a license for it. We don't have that license. We can do it for up to 100 people, but for more than that we can't do so. So anyhow, okay, so please, I think enough people are there now. Yeah, 82 people. So please, if you have not responded to the form that Shreya sent yesterday, please do that. I think she only has 170 odd responses till now, and the total batch strength is around 240. So it means that at least 65 people are there who have not given their response. So please do that. It's important, right? Because after midsem we are going to consider those suggestions. Okay, I'm not sure how to especially work upon the mixed part, because even I don't know. It was proven yesterday, right, that I cannot predict what lecture you will get easily and what lectures you won't get easily, right? So it's very difficult for me to figure out what lecture is a good candidate for live and what lecture is a good candidate for shepherding. The one idea that has come to my mind, by the way, this is probably kind of a midway out, is that instead of choosing these shepherds randomly, because what happens is when I do this, it first of all it takes up time. Right? I mean, we can probably use those 5 to 10 minutes for doing something else. The amount of time I take to call out names and then select shepherds and all those things, we can probably, instead of doing this, go back to a more simpler model. There is a disadvantage of that model there too, but basically what I did in the last session was, I simply asked, whomsoever want to volunteer, even if that person has done it before, just raise your hand, and I instantly got 5 people, right? And I'm pretty sure if I do this in this batch as well, I will instantly get 5 people who would like to be shepherds, right? So of course there will be a lot of repetition, because some students will be there who would probably be shepherds in almost all classes, and then others will simply stay silent. The reason I wanted to do this randomly is because I wanted everyone to speak, but looks like that is not working out, right? I mean, uh, it is probably better to have good shepherds. Okay, if the shepherds are good, because you have to do shepherding, right? If the shepherd is not good, then shepherding goes in the wrong direction, or it doesn't work well. So from after midsem, what we'll do is, as soon as the lecture is available online, uh, the volunteering thing that you guys do over here, you can simply send me a mail and say that, sir, for this lecture I would like to be a volunteer, and I'll simply pick it up, right? The disadvantage here is that now people will stop studying because there is no fear of getting selected as a shepherd. um, but I'm ready to give up that part, uh, you know because if I have selected the shepherds beforehand, I will have at least 5 to 10 more minutes, and plus if the shepherds are well prepared, the discussions are also done in a better fashion. So this is what I feel, that at least there are some students in your batch who are probably better than me in coding, right? There will be some. So why not give them a chance to run the class, and then we can probably reach much closer to that mixed lecture thing, right? That it will be a live lecture, but not by me, but by your peers who are good at programming. So that way, I think we can probably find a midway out where your peers will be able to explain it to you. I will only come in when it is required. Um, but actually, the reason why I usually come in is is because I feel that the shepherd's answer may not be clear. So that is when I unmute myself and I answer. But if I'm sure that a shepherd is good enough, and he or she has volunteered to be a shepherd, it means that that person knows that topic well. So then my work will also be reduced. You can hear from the shepherds more, and I will not have to come in that regularly. So that seems to be a trade-off between going completely live, versus doing this shepherding thing. And the other thing that I certainly want to do is that code forum thing. Okay, just some place where we discuss code, because in theory I have cleared it many times. I'm not really teaching you C. Okay, I'm just teaching you how to do programming, and then I expect that you do the practice part on your own, and you learn some language. It is quite possible that you might be learning C or C++ or whatever it is from some other source. That is fine with me. I am just here to try and teach you how to build logic when you are given a particular program, a particular task. So yes, I have not discussed code as much in the class as probably some of you would like to. So for that, we can certainly have a forum. I want this to do offline. This is the idea, uh, because in the theory part, I would like to discuss concepts. Okay, and there is one more good feedback that I have received, that there are some students, especially those who are doing programming for the first time, they would like a different slot or something like that, where we help them. Okay, uh, now in Western universities they have a concept of a homework lab actually. Okay, in the homework lab, what they do is the TAs come. I mean, it happens in the physical sense, but here we can probably have it in a virtual sense, where TAs and some of the students who are already ahead of time, they can they actually come and help others. This is the idea of a homework lab. Um, so so if you guys want, we can start something like that, that for those students who are struggling, who are lagging behind, we can decide sometime in the week. We do have that additional lecture slot. I think 1 hour of it is uh, it is to be taken by Neelu ma'am, but we still have more time, at least 1 more hour. So I'm ready to devote another hour of time. At least two TAs are there who are also willing to help you out of the six. Okay, so they can join. They can help you out with your queries, with your doubts. So that part I am willing to accommodate in the classes after midsem, that we'll have probably an additional 1 hour of time for especially those students who are struggling. Okay. So let us do this now. Um, Yeah, sure, Panchdeep. Please send it to me over email. I get these things. The only thing you should do is just send the code and try to take a screenshot where you have line numbers. Okay, whatever editor you use, try to use an editor which has line numbers, because then it is easier for me to reply back, saying that on line number this, you have written this, please change it to this, something like this. So whenever you guys send me code, um, try to send a screenshot that has line numbers. It is easier for me to reply back. But as long as you can certainly send me code. I do uh, reply back to students over email whenever their code is not working or something like that. So yeah, so I need 5 volunteers. Again, no restrictions, anyone can be a volunteer for today's lecture 5.2. Aman, okay, Aman is one. Aman, your section?
IT.
IT, okay. Aman, okay, okay, 68. hmm. uh then uh See, Akshay, I'm not in touch with C++, but I think I should be able to answer C++ doubts. I mean, my first language that I did was C++ only. And even if I'm not able to answer straight away, I can answer with the help of a simple Google search. Okay, so sure, you can send me questions related to C++. But if you find it is probably better to talk to your seniors. I guess they'll be in touch with C++ more than me. So, but if you don't find an answer from there, feel free to send me any query. Okay, I try my best to answer all the queries that you guys have. Sometimes I get even non-computer science queries. So I have no issues. Email is something that you can send me anytime. So yeah, Aman is one. Any other volunteers for today? Anyone can be a volunteer, by the way. It's not just that those who have done it before. Anyone can be a volunteer. I used to have some ever ready guys. Where are they? It's okay, Mohit. I understood your issue. Uh, where is Yashvardhan? Akshay, you would like to be okay? Tell me your. Uh, it's okay, Dhruv. Akshay, what is your section? IT. Okay. Okay, got it. There are two Akshays, it seems like. Okay. And Aman I have already added. I need 3 more. Aryan. Okay. Tia. Anyone else? And Akshay Bhatnagar. Acha. So it's fine. So Aryan, Tia, Akshay. Aryan, tell me your. अच्छा श्रेया ने 3 बोला I guess. Okay. Um, okay. So Aryan, it's IT, is it? Okay. And yeah, IT as well, right?
Sir, let Shreya be the shepherd today. I have done it 2 times. She have done it only 1 time.
Acha, okay. Shreya, what is your section? I have two Shreyas. It is okay. It is this Shreya. Shreya, are you fine with shepherding? Okay. Okay, fine. So Shreya, I
Excuse me.
don't know. Yeah, go ahead.
So I have volunteered once. Tejas wants to volunteer this time. I'll volunteer next time. So let him
Actually,
do
I've
it this
also
time.
volunteered
Fine,
once,
fine, fine.
Akshay. So if you want to do it, you can do it. I don't have a problem or anything.
It's okay. Uh, okay. So Akshay, I'm making you the volunteer then, right? So Akshay, your section. IT. So I have all from IT. There are 3 Akshays, is it? Okay, great. Nice. And all 3 are in IT. Great. Okay, so let's start. Acha, Shreya. Now I got your point. Okay. Application window. Let's start. Okay, guys. The question. I think you can see my screen. And so please start. I am going to mute myself. So anyone can start. Am I audible? Am I audible, guys?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So then anyone can start. Okay, any of the shepherds can start.
Yes, sir. So the first question is, what does the term dimension mean in context of arrays? So arrays can be of many types. Generally, we use 1D array, 2D array, and sometimes we use 3D array. So 1D array is where we store all the values in a line. So the first index is 0, second is 1, third is 2, like that. If the second type of dimension is 2D, where many of you must have seen that matrix format. So if we store the data using those matrix format, then it is said to be 2D array. We can have 3D, 4D, but these are not used as much. So in order to declare the 2D array, we declare row and then column. So row starts from 0 to n, and the column can start from 0 to m minus 1. Sorry, the index can be 0 to n minus 1, and the column index can be 0 to n minus 1. So that's the only field. So you can feel that if we store the values in a line, it can be 1D, and if we store in a tabular format, row column wise, it is 2D. So this is the meaning of dimensions. Anyone
Basically,
wants
they
to
are the
elaborate?
basically they are the indices where your like values are being stored.
Yeah, actually, I lost the connection in between, so I'm just hoping it was clear.
If anyone has doubts, so it's just a for type. If we store it along a line in 1D, then it is 1D, and if we store in tabular format, if we need to store the data in that format, so it is 2D. Any doubts, please?
Yeah, it's just like matrix, like similar to that. It just represents your where you store your value, your position of the value you have stored in your array. This dimension is just they are 3D arrays. They are it's not clear. Akshay, can you please explain it again, or shall I do it? Nitish, can you please unmute and ask your question? Like
He said
which
that
part?
no, it's clear.
Oh, okay, sorry. Sorry, my bad.
Okay, then if anybody has no doubt, then we can move to the next question.
Yes.
We can give example. Someone was asking for example. Anyone can give any example for the same.
Exam.
Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay. So, should we move to the next question? Hello.
Example.
I think someone wants an example. You can
I can
probably.
give the example.
Okay.
So suppose we want to store marks and we have one person and he is having, let us suppose 10 subjects. So we are not required to store these 10 subjects mark in tabular format. We can do that. We can just store these marks in consecutive in a line format. So we will define 1D array for the same, having 10 having 10 as the index, having 10 as the what to say, having 10 entries from 0 to 9, and we can store the marks in 1D format. Now suppose we have 5 students and 5 marks, 5 subjects, and we want to store the marks, these 25 marks. So it is more easy and more readable to store these in a 2D format. So for the first row, so imagine a tabular format. First row, second row, third and fifth row. In the first row, we will store the marks of the first student. In the second student. So this way, it is more easy to store in 2D format, and we can do the calculations and all the steps using 2D format. So this is where the 2D array comes into play. Is the example clear or?
So guys, for me, things are not. I mean, the voice keeps on breaking, but I hope that for everyone else it is fine. So if you have a doubt, please ask.
So no doubts.
Yes. So then move to the next question.
Is it necessary to use multidimensional array for a task? No, it's not. It's just like you can use for loop for a function, and you can use recursion technique to do same task. So it's same. Like you can you can just execute a task using single dimensional array, and you can use it using you can do it using multidimensional arrays. It's just मल्टीडायमेंशनल मतलब इस जस्ट वो चीजें थोड़ी कॉम्प्लेक्स नहीं होगा, मतलब इट विल डिक्रीज कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी. अगर तुम जैसे कुछ क्वेश्चन कर रहे हो और 2D एरे यूज कर रहे हो, तो हो सकता है वो कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी डिक्रीज कर दे तुम्हारे लिए. जैसे डायनामिक प्रोग्रामिंग 2D एरे से भी हो सकती है, और तुम उसको रिकर्सिव टेक्निक से, मतलब उसमें भी रिकर्जन लगता है दो, बट स्टिल इट्स जस्ट एन एग्जांपल.
Yeah, I have not taught you guys about recursion and dynamic programming. So, so let's keep it very simple for those who don't know. So yes, the answer is you can. It's just more convenient to use multidimensional arrays. So let's focus on that part. Okay.
It's just like sorry. फॉरगेट रिकर्जन. एक टास्क तुम नहीं भाई, एक टास्क तुम फॉर लूप से भी कर सकते हो, सेम टास्क तुम व्हाइल लूप से भी कर सकते हो.
ओके, एक्चुअली लेट मी कंप्लीट. सो जो मल्टी डायमेंशन एरे है वो बस एक कन्वीनियंस है हमारे लिए. जो काम हम मल्टी डायमेंशन एरे से कर सकते हैं वो हम सिंगल डायमेंशन एरे से भी कर सकते हैं. बस जैसे अक्षय ने बताया, हमारी कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी कम हो जाती है और आसान हो जाता है हमारे लिए. बस उसके अंदर सिंगल फॉर लूप से हम एंट्रीज लेते हैं, मल्टी डायमेंशन के अंदर हम नेस्टेड लूप्स लगा सकते हैं एंट्री के लिए.
बेसिकली वो उसको प्रेजेंटेबल एंड इजी टू फॉलो बना देता है मल्टी डायमेंशनल एरेज. लाइक अगर तुम एग्जांपल में ले लो कि 5 बंदों के मार्क करने हैं हमें सिंगल डायमेंशनल में, और फॉर मल्टी डायमेंशनल in single, if you store, then you go from 0 to 4 for one person and then 5 to 9. So it's like a little confusing now. So we use like a tabular format, multi-dimensional array. Like for rows, we take the students, and for columns, we take the marks, and we input it like that. It makes it more presentable.
So any question regarding this? Anyone?
हैवर आई एम सॉरी, दोबारा अगर कोई डाउट है तो तुम लोग पूछ सकते हो, एक्सप्लेन कर सकते हैं। सर आप वर्ड यूज कर रहे हो ना, तो यहाँ पे इंसर्ट में एक टेबल वाला ऑप्शन होता है, उससे भी हम एक्सप्लेन कर सकते हैं, लाइक 2,
Okay,
something।
fine.
Yes, sir.
हाँ
Let me just. I'm creating a 5x5 table. Okay.
हाँ, it will be better
So
if you
now,
create both, like 2D and a 1D, like just like differentiate.
yeah. So I'll probably 5 will be a bit difficult. I'll just create a 3x3 one. Okay.
Yeah.
It will be much easier. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this is 1. So I'll just write some data here. And then I have to write the same numbers. 3, 7. I think I did create an example in the slides. I should have just shown that. Anyhow, this is your example. Okay.
हाँ, सो बेसिकली जो काम हम मल्टी डायमेंशन से कर रहे हैं वो हम उस सिंगल डायमेंशन से भी कर सकते हैं, बट मल्टी डायमेंशन हमारे लिए ज़्यादा प्रेजेंटेबल होता है। सो कोई क्वेश्चन? So I think it's clear now. We should move on to our next question. What's different between?
So anyone wants to answer the third question? So I can start.
So there is a
So
question,
basically-
guys. I think there are some doubts about 3D arrays. So one way to look at 3D arrays is it's like a cube. Okay, I shared a picture in the previous class. I'll just try to see if I can find that same picture. 3D.
Sir, I can explain the 3D array also.
You keep on explaining. I will put that picture also. Okay.
Okay, sir. So suppose we want to store 125 values. So we don't want to store it like in 1D, we don't want to store 125 values. So we don't want int array of 125. So we don't want to do this, and we want to make it more fashionable and store it in a cube-like format. So what we will do, we will declare array like this: int arr 5 in box, then again 5, then again 5. So it will create a 3D space where the first dimension will go from 0 to 4, second dimension from 0 to 4 again, and third from 0 to 4, and the first value will be stored at the index 0, 0, 0, second will be 0 comma 0 comma 1, and likewise. So it's just a way where we can store data, but we are not storing them in a line, we are storing in a 3D format. So you can imagine the x, y, z axis, and those points, we all have studied the 3D in matlab 12th class. So suppose 0 comma 0 comma 0 index, we store the first value. In 0 comma 0 comma 1, we store the second value, and goes on. So we can store 125 numbers or data using that 3D array. So it's just a way where we can store the data. It's nothing else, not complicated. You can store 1D also, you can store that in 1D or in 2D, but it's not used actually. We want our program to be simple.
और वन मोर थिंग, हम जितने चाहे उतने डायमेंशन ले सकते हैं, बट हमारा काम 2D तक चल जाता है, सिर्फ 3D लिमिट नहीं है, और भी आगे तक हम डायमेंशन यूज कर सकते हैं वैसे.
And in order to declare the 3D array, for 1D array we use one for loop. In second 2D we use 2 for loop. Then in third we will use 3 for loops, nested for loops, 4 inside a 4 inside a 4.
भाई 4D डायमेंशन डिफाइंड है?
Any dimension is defined. You can use 5 for nested for loops and create a 5D array. It's your wish. Then the first will be stored in ARR of 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. The first data will be stored there. So it's all defined, but practically we don't use 5D.
Shall
How
I?
it will be implementable?
Go ahead. Someone had a doubt. Okay. Shall I unshare this this picture and then go back to the document?
Yes,
I
sir.
just want. Right. Okay. Okay.
So I think 3D is clear now. Any doubts regarding 3D?
You can just unmute and ask anything. शर्माने की कोई बात नहीं है भाई.
So with this we have done the fourth question and left the third question. So no doubt, then we can move to the third question. So what is the difference? So 1D and 2D is just a form where we can store the data. The space, like integer take 4 bytes, na? So the space remains the same. It's just the way we are storing the values. We are storing it in 1D format or 2D format. There is no difference in the spaces. One integer data type will take 4 bytes in 1D also and in 2D also. It's just a representation how we are storing it and nothing else. Integer will not change to character or float where we store it in 1D or 2D.
Is there any doubt regarding this?
A1 is just
No,
a name.
just
You can
name.
give any name. Array 1, name 1, any name. Yes, that is 1D array. A1 here is used to store 1D array. And A2, this is how we declare 1D array, and A2 5, 5, that is used to declare 2D array.
Yeah, so this is the point that basically they'll take the same amount of space. Now, if you are not sure why, there is a slide also, right? I forgot that I should not have made all these tables. There is a slide as well, which shows you what is the difference between 1D and 2D, but it is exactly the same in the memory. So yeah, so basically it's the same amount of memory that you'll take.
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead, Ria.
Does address of each variable also remain same in 1D array and 2D array?
Any Shepherd would like to answer?
No, address need not be same. Address depends on many things. That what it depends on the compiler or its internal thing where it is going to store that data. It need not be same. It depends on many other factors. But consecutive data will have
Yeah, so for now, just assume that yes, the address will be same. The idea is that in the memory it will be contiguous, and it doesn't matter whether you access the whether you access, let us say, in this example, so
but
ARR.
the starting index starting should not be same, na sir.
No. Assuming that they both, like, let's say this array and this array, let us say they both start at address 1000, then and let us say each one of them are taking 4 bytes. So then this is 1000, this is 1004, 1008, and this is 1012. So this will also be 1012. The idea is this.
Okay, sir.
This
So
is
we are
1000.
defining one by one. So we are defining them one by one, not at the same time.
Yeah, the only issue here is that there is something known as row major and column major. I think I have added it in the homework, that just read what is row major and column major. Whatever we have studied in the class, in the lecture, that is actually row major representation. There is another way in which the contiguous memory locations for a 2D array will be different. Okay, so essentially in 2D array this will be stored first, then this, then this. Okay, instead of like this. So that is known as column major format. Okay, so but in row major format it is going to be exactly the same. The address of 53 in this case and in this case will be exactly the same. In column major it is different, but in C it is row major. Okay, so for you as of now, the addresses will be same.
And so we cannot change row major to column major. So it's property or what?
It's a property of your compiler.
So we can use the J loop first, then it will be changed to column major, no?
Pardon?
So if we use the first for I loop for row and J loop for the
No.
And if we use
You can access them in a column major fashion. That is right. But in the memory, they are stored in the row major format only. That is a thing that is implementation, right? So in C they are row major. It's simple. Okay. In other languages, other compilers, you'll have to check what it is, whether it is row major, column major. There is also another version where basically you don't even store it in contiguous fashion. You just store one row contiguously and then the second row can be somewhere else. So there are multiple complications in the implementation part when it comes to other languages. But for C it is very simple. It's simple row major. GFG, what is GFG?
Geek for Geeks पे दोनों
अच्छा,
methods
okay, sorry. I'm a faculty advisor for them. And I don't know it is GFG. Anyhow, so yeah, so basically column major is the idea is that you can store them in either row major or column major format. Column major has some other advantages. Okay, so for certain languages, okay, especially the languages which are more in the machine learning and statistical domain, many a times you would like to access data items in in a column by column fashion. So basically you would like to access all variables in one column, then move to the second column, then move to the third column. So then it is easier to store it in the column major format, and it's more efficient. So there are certain languages, and I think R stores it in column major format, if I'm not wrong. So R is a statistical language. So uh, so basically this is the idea, that row major versus column major. The access part doesn't change. Okay, for you it doesn't matter. You can access the row, either you can access the array either row wise or column wise, it doesn't matter. But the way it is stored in the memory, it affects your access time as in how efficiently it can be accessed. So the languages where people do these column based operations more often, they actually store arrays in column major format. It is more efficient. But C, it is a general purpose language, and it simply stores everything in row major format. Okay, so that is the idea. The address will be the same in either cases, whether you are doing
So,
it this way or that way.
sir, but in Geek for Geeks, they have used both methods to store the data, but still, the time is different for both
um,
reading data.
both methods to store the data.
Yes, sir.
uh, I don't understand this point. Can you send me an
Sir,
exact link? Like I will
yes, sir.
check what. Okay, so because this is dependent on your language actually, right? So your language, your okay, let me open this, and then you can continue with other discussions. I'll just read this
Yes.
link.
Someone was talking about time complexity. So can you please show nested loop and single loop? It will be better.
That slide, right?
It would be
Okay.
even better if shepherds are allowed to share the screen. Like
How do I do
coding
that?
is
Okay,
very easy.
can I make you if I make you
Can
co-host,
you
will you get,
first?
right? I'll make you the
I
co-host.
don't know. I don't have any.
Just a minute.
Maybe we can try.
Okay, I'll just try. WebEx. Okay, Akshay, you are a co-host now. Anyone else who would like to be a co-host, please tell me. I'll make you a co-host.
I still can share my screen.
Aryan. Okay, Aryan, I'll also make you a co-host. I have made you a co-host. I'm not sure what else I can. Shall I make you the host? I'm not sure. Uh, okay, there is a presenter
I
option.
think
Make
there is
presenter.
something called presenter. Yeah.
Acha, let me make you presenter then, Akshay. Mm, First of all, when there are so many people, it becomes difficult to search. Where did Akshay? Akshay. Okay. You presenter. Okay, I made you the presenter. Making Akshay the presenter. Oh, there was a nice, uh, a nice
Well,
animation that came. Okay. Yeah, I'll read the link that Himanshu shared. By that time, you can discuss this stuff.
mhm. So in one dimensional array, using for loop, if I'll take input, let's just say we are using 100 one 100 मतलब 100 क्या हो गया? I am fumbling. Lol.
हो गया भाई
Let's just
साइज है साइज 100 ले ले
अरे कर अक्षय कंटिन्यू कर, मजे ले रहे हैं ये।
मैं पढ़ा रहा हूँ। So I can explain like 1D array है और 100 एलिमेंट का साइज है उसका, तो ये लूप 100 टाइम्स चल रहा है। और और अगर 2D array है और मतलब ये पहला लूप 10 टाइम्स चल रहा है, दूसरा लूप 10 टाइम्स चल रहा है, तो n यहाँ पे n और n स्क्वायर सेम ही हो रहा है, तो टाइम कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी इतना ज्यादा डिफरेंस नहीं आएगा। 1D array और 2D array में जो थोड़ा बहुत डिफरेंस आएगा वो जस्ट थोड़ा उसके एड्रेस और उन सब की वजह से आएगा। देयर इज नॉट बिग डिफरेंस। ओके,
अक्षय एग्जैक्टली सेम होगा या अप्रोक्सीमेटली सेम होगा?
ऑलमोस्ट, मतलब इतना डिफरेंस नहीं आएगा, कुछ यूज कर सकते हो, इतना कोई बड़ा डिफरेंस नहीं होगा। मतलब आई डोंट थिंक देयर बी एनी बिग इशू। डिफरेंस आएगा तो कुछ एड्रेस एड्रेस का ही होगा। मैंने गूगल पे देखा, इसका आंसर मुझे भी नहीं था वो चीज।
अच्छा
नामियाल, ये हमने सीपीपी की क्लास में पढ़ा था, आई गेस यू अटेंड करनी चाहिए थी वो। और टाइम कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी है सर, अभी हमने ये चीज पढ़ा है। तभी मैंने
Okay,
सीपीपी यूज
okay.
किया है।
Let me jump in. Sorry. Uh, so in this case, actually, the time complexity things. Okay. First of all, it is not really something that you should worry about as of now. But what we are doing here is something different from time complexity. Okay. Um, the idea here is that if both the arrays are actually the total number of elements are exactly the same, then whether you run a nested loop or you run a one-dimensional loop, the cin statement will be executed exactly the same number of times. Okay, so the time complexity thing is not really a matter here. The time complexity thing is a matter when you actually go, when you reach a stage where you have two options, where you basically have two different algorithms, to be honest. Okay, and one algorithm is using a nested loop, another algorithm can do the same thing without a nested loop. So for example, if I could somehow write the above loop, somehow, I don't know how, it is not possible in this case, but let us say if the above loop runs for from I equal to 0 to I less than 10, and in the bottom the loop runs from I equal to 0, I less than 10, and j equal to 0 to j less than 10, then and only then can I actually compare them. I can say that the above loop is order n loop and the bottom loop is order n square loop. Okay, order n square, not loop, order n square algorithm, and the above algorithm is order n algorithm. Here it is not really the same thing, right? I mean, basically we are just because the total number of times a particular statement is being executed will be exactly the same. So don't get confused with that order n square thing. First of all, you should not go into those details before studying order n and order n square. You need to know a number of things. You need to study what order, the big O notation, what does it actually mean. I'm not sure whether you guys have been taught this by your seniors. What exactly is the big O notation, small O notation?
Yes
Okay,
sir, yes sir. Last
right.
class में they taught us.
Okay, so then if you understand what is big O, what is small o, what is omega, about, if you know all those things, it's, yeah, because usually people only talk about
They only
big O.
taught us bigger notation, not omega and all.
Huh.
Just
So
basics.
that's, yeah. So I mean, basically, this is something that you will study when you study algorithms. Okay, this is not something that you should worry about right now. So don't, yeah. As of now, just for you, these two loops are actually equivalent. Okay, why? Because in those notations, we analyze it in a different fashion. So the idea is the statement C in ARRI gets executed exactly the same number of times, whether it is the nested loop or it is the uh, the simple one-dimensional loop. So don't worry, these two are equivalent. Even running time, it will be almost same. There might be certain differences in running time of loop 1 to loop 2. Probably loop 1 is actually better as compared to solution 1 is probably better running time wise as compared to this second solution, because the second solution has more jump. It will require more jump statements. So probably running time will be slightly better, not too much, but slightly better for the first option. The second option, the running time might be slightly worse, but don't worry about it as of now. For you, both these things are equivalent, and this is the whole idea. Okay. And don't worry about big O notation as of now. It's too early for you. When do you guys have design and analysis of algorithms in your syllabus? It will be at least in third semester, not before that. Because I don't think it will be any. It is usually so. So we studied it in fifth semester, but then our curriculum was much different. In first semester we had to study mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, workshop, all those things. You guys are not studying all that, so you can start studying computer science from the first sem itself. So probably you study this in third or second semester. Don't worry about big O and small o. Just understand that these two things are actually equivalent. Um, the upper loop and the bottom loops, they are basically the same thing. If you guys have any more queries, otherwise we'll just break because it's already 12. Any queries?
संस्कृति, I was just saying कि पहला लूप भी 100 बार चल रहा है, दूसरा लूप भी 100 बार चल रहा है. माफ कर दे भाई, गलती से लिख दिया मैंने big O notation.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay, fine. I mean, don't worry about big O as of now. There is a time, right, for everything. It's fine that some of you are already studying all these things. It's fine. Don't feel guilty about it. But yeah, those who are not able to understand, it's okay. Don't worry about it. There will be a time in the curriculum when you will study this formally. Okay, so don't worry about it. If you don't know what is big O and what is small o, you're not going to get a question on big O and small o in your exams. Okay, so don't worry. There will be a time when you will understand what is big O. Okay, any more queries? So this was actually good. By the way, I need someone. Yeah, it seems kind of anticlimactic, but I wrote an example program the other day for lecture 5.3, where I was just showing everyone the number of bytes that different data types take. I do remember that on Turbo C++, int used to take 2 bytes, but because I
Yes,
don't
sir.
have, right, so because I don't have Windows, I cannot run that program at all, and I don't have Turbo C++. So can you please, someone who has Windows with them, can you please try to install Turbo C++ and just run that program? It will be very good if I get the output of that
Sir,
from the.
it is 2 bytes and 2 bytes.
So
It is 2 bytes.
right, so it would be so good if you can, if anyone can run that program and send me just the output. I would like to show the different implementations of C have differences, right? This is what it is possible that you might get some warnings also in Turbo C that you may not get in GCC, something like that. So so if there is anyone who can run it on Turbo C++ and
सर
go ahead.
मैंने रिसर्च करी थी सर इस पे, ये इन 2 बाइट्स और ये 4 बाइट्स के मतलब, तो ऐसा कुछ था कि टर्बो C++ 16 बिट पे बनी हुई है और अब हम 64 बिट पे यूज करते
बिल्कुल
हैं
बिल्कुल
सब
बिल्कुल
कुछ.
हाँ, सो बिल्कुल, तो कहने का मतलब ये है कि I just want to show people that there are two different compilers and how do they differ. You might actually get some warning also in Turbo C++. So you have to put Alt F9, do Alt F9, है ना? Do Alt F9 and check what is, if they have any warning. Take a screenshot that this is a warning that Turbo C is giving. So just to give people an idea that how different C implementations are different from each other. So if anyone can volunteer and send me some screenshots, some outputs. Yeah, CLR, SCR, and get CH. It is that world. CLR, SCR, and get CH world. So if someone can run it in CLR, SCR, and get CH world. By the way, there used to be some shortcut. If you forget get CH, there used to be some shortcut to check some F something key, F9 or F8 or something like that. That will actually show you the console as well, even if you have not put get ch. Again, I forgot. It's and I was in what BTech third semester or fourth semester, so it's too long for me to remember. It's okay. Yeah, fine. So if anyone can simply send me an output from the Turbo C++ compiler, it will be a nice comparison. People can see, because everywhere on the internet they use GCC only. I tried to find a online compiler which gave a different output, but I could not find anyone. So it's hard to explain why C is implementation specific when you only have GCC available. So just find it right somewhere, and there is a program, right? I mean, on the exam, have you guys gone through the example programs folder that is there on Google Drive? Do you guys even check what I do? I upload something after every lecture there. I don't know how many people actually go and check it. So anyhow, so there is a program, I think, fun with variables or fun with data types, something like that. If you guys can run it on some other compiler, Turbo C++ will be a preferred one, because I know it is at least I remember that it used to be 2 bytes on Turbo C++. So there is at least one difference that you will get when you run it on Turbo C. There might be some differences in the warnings as well. So for implicit conversions, there might be certain warnings. So it would be nice if someone can run it. Otherwise, I will have to install a virtual machine of Windows, and then it's too much work just for one simple output. So I don't want to go back to Windows just for one simple output. But if someone already has Windows, can you please download Turbo C and and use it to run a program? So that's it. That's it from my side. Any more queries related to today? Anurag, just check a program that is there on the Google Drive folder, example programs in week 5.
Sir, I can do it.
Okay, Vanshdeep, thank you. So just run it and send me the output. Okay, I would like to
Okay,
show
sir.
it.
Okay. I'll send you in 10-15 minutes.
Thank you. So I guess everything was clear up to today, and tomorrow's lecture is not that big a thing. Midsem is up to last week. This week is not included in midsem. Okay, so up to week 4, that is there in so week 0 to week 4, that is your syllabus for midsem. Okay, theory, only theory part. This is a theory exam. So whatever we have covered in the lectures, that is what you should do. But keep this in mind. Homeworks are important. Okay, so I'm just giving you a hint. So homeworks are important. So do look at the homeworks as well in the lectures. Okay. Any more? Give. I mean, as in homeworks are not evaluated. This is for your own thing. I mean, if you have a doubt in certain homeworks solutions, you can certainly send me an email and ask. Okay. So like there are some students who do the homework regularly and they send me over email saying that, sir, is this correct? Rishi, it is the same as the quiz that you saw last week. Okay. That same pattern. Okay. Will be there. In fact, that quiz was just to kind of, to give you an idea that this is how we will have the midsem as well. It's just that in midsem you will get 1 hour and there will be 60 questions. Okay, so 1 hour and 60 questions, and the same format. So remember, there can be multiple correct answers. Okay, so I don't want to hear that excuse again. Okay, so it's okay.
there-
Akshay, please, Flo, don't be okay. And
So there are only text files. There is no folder of examples in the Google Drive.
just a minute. I'll share this. Let me see. Let me share this screen.
Okay.
Chrome tab. Guys, this is the folder I have shared with you guys. Okay, like how many of you have ever gone to this place? It is shared with you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now in this, if you go here, all the examples that I present in my lecture, week by week, they are here, week by week. Okay, so currently we are in week 5. This is the program I want you guys to run on Turbo C. Okay.
कमेंट्स की तो सर नीड नहीं है ना?
कमेंट्स एज इन
कमेंट सर वो आपने डाले हुए हैं ना वो स्लैश से.
हाँ, so that is for your understanding. I mean, I have done that so that you can understand the program better. Okay, I add these comments so that you can understand why this particular line was there. This is the idea of comments. Okay, you can just download it and run it. Okay, or just Control C, Control V. That's it.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So please go through these examples. I'm not sure how many of you have gone through this folder. But for every lecture, if I have shown you any piece of code, even the smallest piece of code, if I have shown it to you, it is there in this folder. You can go and these are all runnable programs. You can simply run them on GCC and check the output. Okay, this was the idea from the beginning, that you'll download these things and run it on your own system. You'll try to modify them. You'll try to play with it basically. So please, please do it. This is what my point is. And I think you'll have another class, so we can break now. We'll meet tomorrow. Please, Vanshdeep, send me the outputs. Okay, guys.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.